This time on episode 209 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we discuss Inhumans, Make Way for Medusa, weekly Marvel news, and your feedback.
I'm Alan Grisby from the Strange and Unusual podcast, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Sunday, October 15th, 2017. Live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast galactic-wide via www.geeks.live. Ladies, happy National I Love Lucy Day.
I also love Lucy.
Oh my God, the chocolate factory episode where the chocolates keep coming and coming and coming and she has to stuff them in the mouth and the thing, that's my favorite episode ever.
The Vitamina Vegemin one where she gets really, really drunk. I love that one.
And in case you didn't know, the Hallmark Channel in the mornings are playing I Love Lucy reruns.
Even more reason to love Lucy is that her company was part of the reason, Desilu, was part of the reason why Star Trek got on the air.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. They're credited at the end of those original series episodes. All right.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Lauren beat me.
Everyone should love Lucy.
I certainly do, but now it's time to get back to our Marvel goodness. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television shows Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's The Inhumans, Marvel's Defenders on Netflix, Legion on FX, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because they are all cousins.
If you'd like to talk to us about all your cousins, you can visit our website at legendsofshield.com.
You'd like to leave us a voicemail about everybody being cousins, you can catch us at 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871.
If you'd like to talk to all of us except for Stargate Pioneer about cousins, you can find us on Facebook at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
If you'd like to tweet us about all your cousins' relationships, you can do so at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
If you want to leave us a comment on our YouTube channel as such, like maybe Lauren's cousin might be a porg, you can do so at youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
As you can tell, Haley is absent. That is because I know for a fact right now, as we record this podcast, she is at 28,000 feet flying across the country coming back from a wedding. And I want to say congratulations to Rachel of Tyrion's Landing and her new husband, Steve. So congratulations, guys.
Yay. Congrats.
Aww.
And then, because Haley's out, and just because Michelle needs a Inhumans therapy session, we invited Michelle back on. Michelle, thank you so much for coming back on.
You're welcome. Doing this helps me get through Inhumans.
I think this podcast is the only reason why I'm still watching the Inhumans. So there you go. All right. I think with that, let's get into the Inhumans. We're making way for Medusa today. So, Michelle, what's with the title?
Well, we learned a lot about Medusa, like basically how she's a dick. Because she's basically ordering Louise around and making way to Black Bolt and all that type of stuff. But yeah, Medusa's being a boss.
I can't argue with that. Medusa is being the boss, and she's capable. She doesn't know who Louise is. She could have just been a non-combatant, doesn't know anything about what's going on, just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or right time, whatever you want to say. But she turns out to be like the key in not only finding Black Bolt, but understanding these guys are from the moon and wanting to know, hey, what's up with the city up there? And why can't I see it? I sent a car up there. What's going on? That was squashed by a hoof. What's up with that? So they have a nice little conversation. They get to know each other a little bit better. And we'll talk about that for the rest of the episode. But yeah, Medusa is definitely in command for most of the episode.
I also, I keep meaning to bring this up, but the episode titles are also the names of early Inhumans comics.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, nice.
Yeah, I keep meaning to and then forgetting. So
because it's not that important. Or just because you forget stuff.
Just because I forget stuff. I'm distracted by things like porgs. If you watch the live video, I got a stuffed porg yesterday, and now he's my friend, and we are podcasting together.
When you drive, are you going to put the porg on your dashboard?
No, because you need to buckle them up for safety.
Oh.
Always wear a seatbelt. That has been your PSA for today.
Okay. As we move along from the PSA and from the Star Wars trailer that just came out this past week on Monday Night Football, we need to talk about the creative team behind this episode, Make Way for Medusa, which includes the director, Lauren.
Yes, David Straiton is the director. He has 78 directing credits starting in 1995, and he's new to our discussion, but not new to the Marvel Universe. His first credit is the Wienerville Hanukkah special back in 1995. He did an episode of Secret World of Alex Mack, 3 episodes of Space Cases, which I loved as a kid and was my first experience with being angry about a show being canceled. 1 episode of Da Vinci's Inquest, 1 episode of La Femme Nikita, 2 episodes of Higher Ground, speaking of Star Wars, because Hayden Christensen was on that show. 1 episode of Dawson's Creek, 2 episodes of Freaky Links, 1 episode of Dark Angel, 5 episodes of Charmed, 3 episodes of Angel, 10 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, 1 episode of The Dresden Files, 1 episode of Heroes, 2 episodes of Dollhouse, 1 episode of The Cape, which I know, was it Haley is a fan of? 16 episodes of House, 4 episodes of Fringe. They were all very good episodes, by the way. 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., 084 and Beginning of the End. And 6 episodes of Hemlock Grove, 4 of Grimm, and this episode of Inhumans.
Yeah, the reason why we haven't discussed David before, even though he did 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First of all, 084 was before any of us that are currently on the podcasted on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Second of all, for Beginning of the End, that was before we started roping in the discussion of the creative team. So although David has been involved in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before, we have not specifically discussed it. I'm looking at his credits, almost 80 credits of really cool series. And in addition to those series that Lauren just mentioned, I just want to name a few more. 2 of the Odyssey 5, which that was a good show, canceled before its time. You were mentioning that there was a first show that you were upset about. I was upset to learn that Odyssey 5 was canceled. That definitely did not receive any sort of backing whatsoever. And I think it was even shown out of order. Go figure. Blade, the series, an episode of that. 1 episode of Eureka over on Sci-Fi. I gotta mention these next 2 because they're relevant to newer viewers. 1 episode of Knight Rider. That's the reboot version of Knight Rider. And 2 episodes of Defying Gravity, another show that I would have loved to have seen long. But if I had to make a choice right now between Defying Gravity and The Expanse, I'm glad I'm watching The Expanse now versus Defying Gravity, because that was just a relationship series in space. So lots of great stuff from David, and it's important to remember that because we're going to get into that discussion later in the episode. But Michelle, we also had an accomplished writer for this episode too.
Yes, this episode was written by Wendy West. Has 17 writing credits since 2000. Previous work includes 9 Law & Order Special Victim, 1 of The Practice, 3 Numbers, 11 Dexter, 1 of The Blacklist. And this is Wendy's first appearance on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. because written 1 of the Inhumans.
That's right. So we have 2 people that are new to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and 1 that's pretty much new to the Marvel Universe behind this. But they're both very accomplished people in their roles. And I got to ask you, ladies, we didn't discuss this beforehand, but we were saying the series was on an upswing after episode 2 into episode 3. How do you think the series swung after episode 3 into episode 4 here? Do you think it just stabilized? Do you think it went up, or do you think it went down a little bit? Lauren, what did you think?
Slight backslide just because this episode was a bit confusing. We did talk about this before, but they have a bit of a problem they have a bit of a problem with kind of too many dangling plots right now. And I kind of hope they get that going and wrap things up kind of well. Not much of a backslide because, I mean, how to put this? I still liked seeing, like, Karnak's storyline was still kind of fun. And there was aspects of the Medusa storyline that I still liked and aspects of the Black Bolt one that I still kind of liked. But I feel like this episode was a little bit of a confusing semi-mess.
Quasi-mess. So, Michelle, would you concur with that?
Yeah, I would. One of the biggest problems with this episode is there's actual exposition dumps. You know, Luis and Medusa talk about how they're on the moon and there's a base, and Luis actually talks about, hey, I sent a rover up there and all this other type of stuff that's going on. And it's like, this is the 4th episode. We knew this stuff 2 weeks ago. We don't need these huge exposition dumps right now. If this was the 2nd episode, you know, one of the things we talked about before was, we liked the last week's episode, and wouldn't that be cool if that was, you know, the actual 1st episode? And then if you followed it up with this, then those exposition dumps, would make sense. But for me, it was like, we already know this. And it's like, spend less time on the exposition dumps and more time weaving in these odd subplots that have all of a sudden made their appearance.
Yeah, we'll talk about those in a second. One thing in particular that I want to point out is I did not get from last episode that Lucky with Gorgon had died. And then all of a sudden they basically state he's dead. See, I thought Gorgon was just literally carrying him off the battlefield, like in a first aid sort of capacity. I didn't realize that Lucky was dead. So I'm glad that was explained to me, but at the same time, it wasn't really shown to me last episode. So that's kind of a failure too. I thought this episode was just a bunch of ping-ponging back and forth as I was trying to write my notes. It was a bunch of one-line things that had happened and I wasn't able to contain anything. It was just basically fast cuts within the scenes. And by the time I got past the section, or I guess they're called acts, in like a total of like 5 acts or so in a series, as I was getting to the end of an act and the commercial was coming up, I'm like, whoa, what did I just see? And I would go back to my notes. I was like, oh my gosh, there's way too much is going on right now. So let's get into the specifics on what was going on. Let's start off with, I think, the main takeaway from this episode, and that is Medusa and Louise.
Yeah, we find they're on the run, and for the most part, it's kind of entertaining seeing their interplay. We get a lot of the fish out of water stuff that I was really hoping for with the series. And we do get a lot of, them trying to explain to each other, look, this is how it works on Earth. This is how the downside of it is that, yes, Medusa, because she is royal and thus not used to being questioned, acts like a jerk the entire time. Just kind of wanders off and leaves her and bosses her around. But because Louise really wants all this information, she puts up with it. And we also get some flashbacks about Medusa's past, which I appreciated. I honestly did. And this is where we find out that banishment is Inhuman talk for murdered.
Yeah, a little definition issue in the Inhumans language. Yeah, I think so. Banishment means murder. And it happened with the Genetic Council as well, in addition to Medusa and Crystal's parents. And we saw that as, do you think we're going to get into the specific thing that happened with Crystal and Medusa's parents, or do you think this is it and we're moving on?
I think it's a waste of a storyline if we don't.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned in the flashback that their parents led a coup of some sort that failed. Would be nice to know why. Why did they stage it? Who supported it? Why did it fail? I mean, and does that have any connection with Maximus? One of the things I have problems with is, how did Maximus get everybody's support, like the guard support and everything, and to do all of this? Like, is it connected to Crystal and Medusa's parents, or what?
Right. One of the things that came out in this episode was, I think it's Tybor is the head of the Genetic Council. I could be mistaken about that, but because we were talking about, we weren't really clear about who was who before the podcast. But anyway, Tybor had basically backstabbed Maximus at some point in time, and he was worried that Maximus wasn't going to forgive him, which basically Maximus said, I don't believe in it at the end. But Maximus has issues that are going on to the time when he went through his Terrigenesis and became a human, and it keeps being referred to, but we haven't seen it yet. So I'm wondering if we're going to go back in a flashback in the next 4 episodes and see that scene, as well as what happened with this failed coup with Medusa and Crystal's parents. So there are still unanswered questions. They do have 4 episodes left, but it's like, well, you only have 4 episodes left, and we've got 4 episodes behind us. Let's try to catch the basis of where we're at before we wrap it up. Because right now, it's not as bad as the first 4 episodes of Legion at all, but that was a lot more intriguing than the first 4 episodes of the Inhumans, in my opinion.
Yeah, with this, I feel like we're not going to get answers to every question because they're hoping it'll be renewed. So you have to have some dangling plot threads for that. Unfortunately, the thing is, how much do people care?
I don't know. Even Peter Gunn said that the Inhumans can't be saved. So it's like, oh my gosh, when Peter Gunn comes out with that, and he's one of the big boys within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which this is supposedly a part of, and that's strong words coming from Peter Gunn right there. And talking about strong words, or lack of strong words, well, I mentioned him before. Let's talk about Maximus and the fact that the dude is not been stable, but he's even less stable now.
Yeah, we finally start to be able to accept this guy as a villain, in terms of more than just shaving Medusa's head and being mean to a dog. We finally see him, and I think this is where the writing actually is good. The writer, she's done a lot of work for crime series, mostly, if you go back and you look at her IMDb. And this is where I feel like maybe she excels in giving the villains plausible motivation. So we see him getting paranoid, and we see that selfishness finally starting to come through a lot more, instead of, this caste system is unfair, and it's unfair that we keep people as slaves, essentially. And now we're finally seeing it's all about me. And this is the villain that I feel like we should have gotten from the start if they wanted us to empathize with the royal family more.
Yeah. Yeah, he talks about, wanting to undergo Terrigenesis again. And we find out that it seems like he's the one that's funding Declan's genetic work, because it looks like Maximus wants to inject himself with new DNA or something and undergo pterogenesis again because he feels abandoned after being turned into a human. And he says that we either stagnate or evolve. And it's like he's like trying to sell everybody on, you know, we need to change the system for the better. And he tries to sell it that he wants to do it better for everybody. But really it's his plan to, you know, make it better for himself.
And part of that is the whole genetics thing. We get it up in Adelan, we get it down in Hawaii, and it's a big issue. Like, he just wants to become Inhuman, and he wants to become the king of the Inhumans. And I don't know if it's going to work like that for him.
Doubt it. I mean, it's you and Rian. Nothing really tends to go his way.
Except for the checkbook.
That's true. Guy gets paid good money to be the creep.
If it's working for you, as I mentioned before, I just hope he's not typecasting this forever, because I think he has amazing potential, but...
The guy is seriously a really good comedic actor. I want to see him in more comedies. Like, come on, guys. But unfortunately, he's also really, really good at being creepy, so I have the feeling that he's going to be typecast as that for a while yet.
Yeah, until his checkbook gets so big that he can fund his own production and be whoever he wants. Kind of like Ben Affleck did.
Hopefully he does it without the sexual assault.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of sex, we get Karnak and Jen. They go and bone on a beach. Jen, by the way, we had to dig around a lot on IMDb to find this, is the girl from the pot farm.
That's right.
Who, until we found out her name, we had just been calling her Tramp Stamp Girl because we don't know secondary character names on this show, so we've just been giving them nicknames, like I tend to do with competitors on reality shows.
I did enjoy the fact that her underwear, which didn't look like swimwear, easily doubled as swimwear.
Okay, so when I was watching this, and she takes off her clothes and she's in her underwear, and I'm like, oh, she is planning to bone. They match. Any girl listening will know that the only time you really pay attention to when your underwear matches is when you're planning for someone to see it, because otherwise it's just like whatever is clean and I grabbed out of a drawer today.
Exactly. So if the underwear and the bra match, and if we shave,
yes,
like we are prepared.
Like
we are prepared for some action.
Yes. That's, if you want to break into woman code, those are two major things.
Got it. Woman code.
Yeah.
So the next time I want a bone, I make sure I shave my legs. And
yes.
I wear matching underwear.
You are smooth like a baby seal.
Okay.
And your underwear matches.
Got it. Important things to know, folks. Important things to know. So I thought the whole reason why they went in the water was because they were all sweaty from working in the hot and humid Hawaiian air.
No, she totally wanted to recreate that scene from Here to Eternity. That was her entire, it's trying to get him to break loose. And also at first I found it really funny that, oh wow, he's like, it's water, what do you do? But yes, he's from the moon. They don't have oceans. I mean, there's subterranean water, as has been proven through science, but it's not like the type of water you go swimming with. And plus, they need this water for drinking. You don't want to pollute your water supply, because people would pee in it if they go swim in it, and you don't want people to pee in your water supply.
Well, fish pee in it all the time.
I know, but you still want to filter it and stuff.
What was with his walk? He was walking like a bird or something as he was getting into the water. What was up with that?
He's never seen it. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about it. Like he picks up the sand because they wouldn't know beach sand like that. They have never seen
dust. It's different.
Here's the thing. Like I grew up in Indiana and far away from an ocean. So the first time I actually got to be on a beach when you see the ocean, it is awe-inspiring. And that's being from Earth. So can you imagine him from the moon and just realizing there's water until your eye can see, and there's the waves and the sand. It is, breathtaking.
See, I grew up near the ocean, so it was like the first time I saw mountains. It's just like, what do I do? They're so big. Oh God, phrasing.
We need phrasing back in our rotation.
God.
Definitely.
Okay.
One of the things that I was just chuckling to myself over is Karnak. He's just this major engineer. He knows how to grow crops just because they don't have a lot of water. So he figures out a way to siphon off water from the river and then basically irrigate the crops, which was all great. But the dude can't figure out a simple bra. What's up with that? I mean, are there bras in space or not?
Apparently, there is no underwear in space, and George Lucas is right.
I mean, if you look at when Medusa is going around, I mean, yeah, that her purple dress did not leave a lot to the imagination, and so there's obviously, which is great. Hey,
I mean, if you can and it's comfortable, I totally in favor, because bras are horrible.
Yeah, they're unnatural.
Like, anyone knows that the best part of your day after wearing a bra is taking it off, because
they're meant to bounce free. Okay.
Yes.
The ladies are meant to bounce. They're meant to play. Okay.
Yes. They're meant to bounce free like gazelles on a plane.
Gazelles on a plane? What?
Gazelles bounce on a plane.
Yeah.
They bounce.
All right.
But anyway, so, just Karnak's acting choices in this episode, I loved. I also loved, just on the subject of things that are not on the moon, we find out there's no meat on the moon. And I think we kind of discussed this previously when we're talking about agriculture and stuff. Meat is very resource intensive to farm, which is one of the reasons why whenever you talk about like proteins of the future, you talk insects, things that are not resource intensive, but will give you a lot of protein. So something like a cow, if you actually do the science and how much, space and input versus output you get, it is very resource intensive.
But yet,
so they don't have the space, they don't have the resources, therefore they get all their proteins from plants and possibly insects.
But yet keeping a dog the size of a truck is okay.
I'm pretty sure, and let me check this because I remember reading this somewhere, that Lockjaw is actually an Inhuman.
Like, was a person at one point in time, goes through Terrigenesis and becomes a dog. Well, I guess, so, Eldrake is a wall, so, yeah, okay.
Right. That was my understanding as well.
And he gets tired. We now know, by the way, why everybody was scattered, because when he gets tired, he gets inaccurate.
And you know what? That surprised me about like Crystal. Crystal's like, what's wrong with my dog? What's wrong with my dog? It's like, you had him teleport your entire family to Hawaii. You should know that when he teleports a lot, 1, he gets tired, and 2, he becomes inaccurate. You should not be like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? He's tired, Crystal. Okay? He's tired.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Lockjaw was first introduced in Fantastic Four number 45, it was clear that Lee and Kirby saw Lockjaw as a giant pet. But in The Thing, The Thing number 3 in 1983, when Quicksilver was pushing for his daughter, Luna, to be exposed to Terrigenesis, Lockjaw speaks up and explains that she could end up like him. So that's when it kind of became like, oh, Lockjaw was a person who went through Terrigenesis. But in X Factor 73, that was retconned. And so it's just kind of, okay, Marvel's official take is that he's a mutated dog. But it's just been it's been on and off, like.
But there are no other dogs on Atalan in the moon. Like, I don't see anybody have a cat or a bird or anything like that. So how would they get the dog, and why would the dog have powers? It makes a lot more sense.
Okay, we know that Triton goes to Earth to rescue an Inhuman and stuff. What if? Okay, this is my theory. He went and picked up a bulldog, like a little bulldog puppy, as a gift for very sad Princess Crystal after her parents died, as a gift for her. And she snuck it into the Terrigenesis chamber with her without telling anyone. And it went through Terrigenesis with her.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
If we ever see it.
I don't know.
You know, considering that on this show we have a guy who's a wall, we have somebody who grew wings, and I guess Mortis is lava poured into a suit. I'm going to go just from the parameters of the show, it seems as though this is an Inhuman whose Terrigenesis turned him into Lockjaw.
Because and that possibility is so much more horrifying because she's keeping another human being as a pet, which is literal slavery. I mean, we talked about this, the slavery with the non-Terrigenesis Inhumans in the mines. And that's awful. But she's keeping a literal person with thoughts and dreams and everything as a pet. And it's really horrifying. That is just so horrifying to me.
Yeah, well, if that happened,
people are monsters.
But I don't think that's their intent here. I don't
think that's their intent, but if that was the case, that is just so awful.
It is. And what's awful in this episode in regards to Lockjaw is he's recovering from being hit by an ATV. And that leads to what I can only describe as a 90210 moment.
Yeah. So the guy that hit the dog calls a vet who turns out to be his ex. So we just get all this back and forth sniping between them the whole time as she's trying to fix this giant dog.
Who cannot fit in a truck because he's the size of a truck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
how did they get him to the barn? Did they make him walk? Because that's horrible.
I don't know. They can't carry him.
Did they just attach him? Did they put chains and drag him?
That's what I was thinking, which would
is
make
also horrible.
Which would make the injury worse. Oh my God. Oh boy. Yeah.
But because he hit the dog with the ATV, and then that leads to some sort of relationship thing, are we now calling hitting the dog foreplay?
Given that they seem to really be flirting and stuff, it kind of seems like it, which is, I guess we're using that as our new euphemism now. Hitting the dog.
Why not? Yeah. Crystal, by the way, can't figure out why she is being labeled a princess.
She's like, how did she know? I did like that moment. Yeah, and I also kind of liked, it was a bit annoying, but it also made sense. Well, why isn't he instantaneously fixed? Her experiences with Inhumans with healing powers who can just sort of fix you. So here's this woman, claims to be a healer, says, okay, well, I've done what I can, and the dog is still just there unconscious on the floor. Again, it's just another thing of how this is not the same as Adelan. And I did like that, even if Crystal just came off incredibly annoying.
And see, that's another thing. We don't really like anybody. I know at the end with Medusa and Black Bolt reuniting, I think that's supposed to, make us like them a little bit better because we've gone through this whole getting to know Medusa and how she, one of the things I do like that we learn is that her parents died from ideals. And she's like, I would rather have my parents than ideals. And that's supposed to explain her behavior some way. But, Crystal's still annoying. Gorgon is like, thanks for your help, but peace out. I'm going to go. But I still love Karnak. But it's kind of weird. Don't know really. It's like I root for Karnak. That's about it.
And Louise. I'm rooting for Louise.
Yeah,
When it comes to the Inhumans, yeah.
finding out that her little rocket ship contains the ashes of her dad was a really good character moment.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I'm just thinking in terms of, I've heard her being dubbed the Felicity from Arrow of the Inhumans.
She looks exactly, like nearly exactly like Felicity from Arrow.
Just with messy hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't deny that. That's some Felicity looking like there.
Which is such a stereotype of the whole you can't be smart and put together sort of deal. And this thing about there's so many blondes. People are going to think that we're all blonde, but we're not. It's weird.
Indeed. So that pretty much wraps up the whole Crystal thing and the Louise thing. So let's talk about Black Bolt and Medusa, because eventually we do get the two reunited at the end of the episode.
Well, first, Black Bolt, okay, let's talk Declan real quick. We see him on the phone, which turns out to be one of their Inhuman risk communicators, with Max, who is his benefactor, and in fact, Maximus. And it turns out Maximus has been helping him the whole time because he wants the secret to Terrigenesis again, for Terrigenesis for humans, which he is now. And he wants to go through it again so that he can get better powers than just being human.
So how does Max get money?
I know. I was like, how does he get money? How does he find Declan? Like, is there a Tinder for bad guys? Like, is that how it works? It's
the Hench app, from Archer. It's the Hench app.
Yes. I don't know. Does he sell moon rocks on the black market? Because I've been told that's very lucrative.
Oh yeah. They caught some people trying to do that, and they were going for like $2-3 million per rock.
Yep.
On the black market, and that was not good. And I think some of them turned out to be not real.
Oh yeah, a lot of it. Okay. So lots of stuff that is authentic on the black market, whether it's art or moon rocks or whatever, is probably not real. It's just people who want to have a thing and are willing to have the thing for a lot of money. But yeah, look up how many moon rocks are missing. It's a really interesting thing. Anyway, that's my theory on how he made the money. He's like, oh, these idiots are paying for things that I have in my backyard. Fine.
How would he get them down to Earth, though?
Wall guy?
Oh, Eldrick, yeah.
Just throw him through Wall guy.
But then why does Wall Guy do it? And why doesn't Wall Guy go, hey, Black Bolt, did you know your brother is like throwing moon rocks through me? Like,
I guess it's some sort of blackmail. Like maybe Wall Guy is doing really horrible, like looking at really horrible Inhumans porn in his spare time or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. Especially with these people. All right. So, yeah, Max wants to become Inhuman, and he's using Declan to try to unlock that potential. And unfortunately, from Max's point of view, he finds out that Black Bolt's got to live because he might hold the key to Maximus becoming an Inhuman again. So all his plans kind of go up in smoke a little bit.
Yeah, he finds out, oh, we can't have him killed. That sucks. But Black Bolt and Lava Hands find out sort of, oh, this place isn't as on the up and up as we thought, so they're going to try to escape. And is that when Medusa comes into the picture? I'm having a hard time remembering.
Yeah, because they escape, and then Maximus's team shows up, and they try to be like, "We have your wife," and then there's a convenient gas tank that Black Bolt just pulls because he sees Mortis, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, if Mortis does his thing," and then Louise comes along, and they hit them, and then Mortis's thing comes, and then you get the big boom, and Lava Hands runs away, and then we get those two reunited, and they go off. So I guess everybody else who's a prisoner of Declan's is just out of luck?
Pretty much. They leave him to die or be researched on or whatever.
At least for now. So, did anybody get the feeling that Black Bolt was actually afraid of Mortis?
Little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's the whole... Black Bolt can use his powers and kill him, but Mortis could also use his powers and kill him. So it's a question of who kills who first. It's that whole... They're both, I guess, two of the most dangerous Inhumans.
Yeah, that was the question. Like, who was the most powerful Inhuman in Adelan? And it was a question between those two. And I have a feeling by the end of this run, we're going to find out who gets the upper hand. Not just in a sleight of hand side thing with the gas tank, but actual powers going after each other. Because don't you guys think that? Don't you think Black Bolt's going to have to use his powers at some point in time in full force?
Well, naturally, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, why even have them? And then after the whole thing goes on and Medusa comes in with, I think Louise was driving, right? So Louise was driving the convertible, which you can rent convertibles pretty easily in Hawaii, by the way, especially on Oahu. So they're driving this convertible in, and then Medusa opens the door and just slams Mortis. Poor Mortis gets slammed. Do you think he felt, I mean, really, if you're a being of light, does concussion really work for you?
But it was the boom. I mean, any sort of like wave is going to like knock him out.
Okay. Well, I was thinking more in terms of the car smashing into him rather than the explosion, which I wasn't too hot. The explosion just did not impress me. The CGI was definitely lacking from the explosion.
Yeah.
But we did get the cool Mortis effect when he raised the hood a little bit before the explosion. So at least there was half of good CGI. I'm assuming that CGI. I'm assuming that Mortis is not real. That this is all Marvel fake stuff. And there's really an actor in that suit. I'm just assuming that. But maybe Inhumans are real? I don't know. And then they throw, what's her name?
Locust.
Locust. They throw Locust, who's termed Echo Girl, into the trunk and then drive away. So instead of Medusa being held prisoner, they are now holding one of Maximus's people prisoner.
Yep.
All right.
How the tables have turned.
And it's not that I'm not riveted here, and I don't know why per se, but I'm not hanging on every single scene here. I'm just like watching it. You guys get that same opinion, or are you like into this trying to dissect it?
No, it really was more of just, especially by the end, like I was just more just watching it. I wasn't as into it as I am with like as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But then again, first season, they're still hashing things out. I'm trying to be more fair to it than I was in the first episode, but still,
yeah, that's fair.
You know, this is the first season of this. I'm not really going to let this apply to this show. That was something that they had been thinking about doing. It was supposed to be a movie, then it wasn't, and then they decided to put the Inhumans into S.H.I.E.L.D. They could have easily had this connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It could have been organic outgrowth, that sort of thing. And the way that they've handled it, Marvel knows better. They know better.
Okay. That's a fair, critique of the episode for sure. All right. Do you ladies have anything else to say about the episode before we get into some small quotes? Michelle, do you have anything?
No, I have said my piece.
Your therapy is complete for the day?
Yes.
Okay. Lauren?
I'm good.
I am good as well. Now, Michelle, you have graciously filled in Haley's seat, and you have had some quotes sitting on your pad next to you for this entire time. So let's get into your quotes. Michelle, your turn. Go.
The engineering of this device leaves me totally perplexed.
Yeah, from a guy's standpoint, bras are hard to do. And it's not like every day that we're working. Well, I guess some people are, but everyday guys don't work bras, so we get rusty at them.
I always thought forgiveness was overrated.
Maximus, that was foreboding.
Yeah, that's not going to come back to bite him in the ass.
Did you crossbreed him with something?
And it's not like you're crossbreeding him. You'd be crossbreeding his parents.
Yes, because that's how genetics does work. I've only read about the moon.
She was so excited.
I know. It was just that weird monologue and how she said it. It's like, I've only read about the moon. Like the rest of us. You know?
Well, some people have been there.
Well, that's
most
like
of us are not those people.
Yeah. And lastly, when I shoot you, it won't be an accident.
Okay, win, Medusa. That's going to go good. I think the only reason Louise is hanging around is because she really wants to know what happened with those 4 space-time disruptions.
Pretty much. She just wants to know about the moon.
And apparently she had a bad time at space camp and she really just kind of wants a friend.
Forgot about
and that's
that.
why she's breaking all these laws so she can have a friend. And it's like,
I'm also theorizing that maybe she has a crush on Medusa, but I don't know. So we'll see.
So when she said they left me just like in space camp, my mind went back to the Leah Thompson Space Camp movie and like, was this actress actually in that movie and was one of the kids left behind? I don't know. I'd have to look at her IMDb.
Oh, I love that movie. I don't know if it holds up. And don't tell me if it doesn't hold up because I enjoyed that movie as a kid and don't ruin that memory for me.
Jake's putbacks in space. So that movie, Flight of the Navigator, yeah, that's all. And Leah Thompson, it was Leah Thompson.
In Space Camp.
Yep.
That movie's actually called Space Camp. Is it? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, the movie was actually called Space Camp. Yep.
Space Camp, yep.
And it had Viper from Top Gun in there too. A lot. If you have not seen Space Camp, just go watch it. You might have to have some alcohol handy. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. I enjoy it every time, but I'm a space geek. So there you go. Next time on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to be talking about The Defenders, episode 3, Worst Behavior. And then next week, the same time on Sunday, we're going to be talking about Inhumans, season 1, episode 5, Something Inhuman This Way Comes. So on Thursday, as always, we're going to be talking about The Defenders. And then Sunday, we're going to be talking about the Inhumans. And if you just haven't got enough geeky content, Michelle, we are part of a geeky network, aren't we?
Yes, we are part of the GonnaGeek.com network that has a lot of geeky podcasts.
Like
the Starlight Tribune. A recent episode, Arrow Season 6 Predictions. It's episode 169 of the Starlight Tribune. In this episode, the Starlight Tribune reporter, Stargate Pioneer, Chris and Michelle preview Arrow Season 6 and give their predictions for what will happen. The crew discuss issues like who dies on Leon Yu. Will we see Stephen Amell shirtless scenes this year? Will Arrow have a Season 7? Why Dinah Drake is everyone's favorite Arrow character. We predict Renee and Curtis to become my 2 dads to Zoe. We are all looking forward to Kirk Aceveto's appearances. And just who is the vigilante anyway?
Once again, that is the Starling Tribune, episode number 169, which you can find at GonnaGeek.com. We have some Marvel news this week, actually some very important news, and the first news story is something that I want to say no duh about, but I'm glad to actually see it happening. The ladies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have made a request.
Yes, at a recent event. Kevin Feige got a tap on his shoulder, and behind him was Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok, and several other actresses who've appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they have demanded their own movie. Tessa Thompson says that what she said was, "What about a movie with some female superheroes, like all of them? It was a pretty amazing moment to be somewhere and have your shoulder get tapped and turn around and every female hero we have is standing there going, how about it?" Kevin Feige replied. And I said, yes. Now, this obviously doesn't mean it's actually going to happen, but it would be really cool. And I would be there opening day, like first show, 3D, whatever. Just give me this. Come on, guys. Have them work together. Have them be awesome together. Have them have, like, they go for, like, I don't know, a ladies' night out and then fight crime and, I don't know, just have them do a thing. Have them be awesome together. Have them not be at each other's throats and just get along and fight crime. Come on.
And they stumble upon She-Hulk. Because we need She-Hulk.
We do need She-Hulk. Come on. Give us Jennifer. Come on. Give us She-Hulk.
Yeah, she could be the attorney to everybody and represent.
She could bust them out of jail. Like, she could be the one to get them out of jail halfway through the movie and then join up with them.
So would you want Jessica Jones in this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
I want everyone in this movie. If they can do like 68 people for Infinity Wars, they can do like, God, I was going to say half that, but let's be honest, like
Melinda May and Melinda May, Quake, Yo-Yo, Jessica Jones, Valkyrie, Sif, Black Widow, they got them. Let's do this.
Misty Knight, Colleen Wing, Karen Page.
So you want the secondary characters as well?
Yes, I want all the female heroes. Come on. Claire Temple.
Yeah. She would definitely, she could be the thing that ties everybody together.
Well, naturally, that's her thing. She's the glue.
Oh man, if she showed up.
Just give us this Marvel. Give it us. Give us now. Give me it.
That's fair enough. And then also moving on, I'm not going to move on from that yet. If DC can do a great Wonder Woman movie, which I believe everybody on this podcast says that was a good movie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Then I think Marvel, who had lots more screen time with these ladies before Wonder Woman came out, deserves to give it to these ladies.
I know we're getting Captain Marvel sometime.
Yes. Eventually.
I know, but all DC has so far, at least, is Wonder Woman as far as a female-led superhero movie. I think Marvel has so many female involvement in superheroes. I mean, if you're going to talk about secondary characters, that this is kind of a no-brainer that they could one-up DC with.
It really is. And it's not even about one-upping. It's just about giving us something awesome that we really want.
I'm good with that. Okay. Now I've said my piece on that, and I'll move on to the next Marvel Universe movie, Thor Ragnarok.
So I09 has an article about how Thor Ragnarok was born from minor moments in the previous Thor films. Again, Kevin Feige talking about it. He said that with this movie, Taika Waititi and I take a little page out of the little moments in other Thor films where Chris Hemsworth is funny. Like the saying another and the hanging the hammer on a coat hook, which was improv. So he saw what we'd done with some of our other films and said, mate, I can do this. So yeah, we're getting, the mythology stuff as we've seen, we have Fenrir and we have Surtur and we have Hela. But we're also getting Thor being funny.
That is something that Chris Hemsworth just brings to the role, and I'm so glad that he does, because you kind of need... He
is a really funny guy. Watch him hosting SNL. Watch him in Ghostbusters. I mean, the guy for a while was getting a lot of dramatic roles, like The Heart of the Sea and stuff like that, and yeah, he's okay in those. But the guy has such good comedic timing. Just give him all the comedy roles. He's amazing.
And are you sure that's the reason that you want to see him on screen, just because of his comedy?
Oh, he can take off his shirt too, but the guy's hilarious.
Seriously, have you seen his forearms?
I know.
Or biceps or whatever?
Have you seen his
Director
shoulders?
Hill said,
God.
yeah, there you go. Another great thing that we saw, by the way, talking about Thor's biceps, is the new Mutants trailer.
So we've talked about this some in the past in response to like casting and casting rumors. The trailer dropped earlier this week, and we mentioned before how they were going for sort of a haunted house movie. The trailer definitely conveys this. We get Wolfsbane. We get, Wolfsbane played by Arya Stark herself, Maisie Williams. We get Magic, Ileana Rasputin, played by Anya Taylor-Joy from The Witch, which is, by the way, a fantastic horror movie. We get Danny Moonstar. We get little hints of Sam Guthrie. We get bits of Roberto da Costa. And we get Cecilia Reyes, who's the main one doing the talking. I still wish that Rosario Dawson was playing her, but okay, I like Alice Braga too. And I love horror movies. I love X-Men. I am so here for this.
It was a really good trailer. I'm generally not into horror, so I'm wondering how I'm going to take this whole series, but Michelle, you loved it too, right?
Yes, I had no idea that they were going to do, a mutant horror movie. And if it nails, I really hope it succeeds so we can get more of it, because that is, I really like the fact that we're getting into comic book movies that are starting to take chances, and also TV series like Legion was a huge risk and it went a different direction. And now we got this with a horror. I'm excited now.
Fox has definitely taken some risks with Legion on FX and with their Deadpool. So
yeah. One thing I will say, there are some very legitimate criticisms about it, namely in regards to the casting. There's been some whitewashing. So there's definite colorism here. Cecilia Reyes in the comics is a very dark-skinned Afro-Latina woman. Roberto da Costa, also very dark-skinned. Danny Moonstar, also dark-skinned. And here, everyone is very pale. So that is something that should be addressed. Colorism in Hollywood, in cinema in general, regardless of what country you go to. You see it a lot in Mexico. You see it a lot in Bollywood. It's a huge deal. So it's just something to be aware of. And when you see people complaining about it, please be aware that, yes, this is a sensitive issue. That said, still excited for it. And so this movie was conceived as part of a trilogy of mutant horror films, according to Josh Boone, the director. If you want to read up on the arc look up the arc from New Mutants volume 18 through 31, the Demon Bear arc. The Demon Bear comes back in recent years in the X-Force run from a few years back. But this is, I think it's an adaptation of the Demon Bear arc. And Josh Boone says it's very much when the New Mutants became dark and surreal and more horror-driven. So the next one he has planned will be a completely different kind of horror movie. And he continued, our take was to just go and examine the horror genre through comic book movies and make each one its own distinct sort of horror film. And they're going to be drawing from the big events that they love in the comics. So this one is the Demon Bear arc. I don't know what they're going to be doing for different ones. And hopefully in the next ones, they actually include Karma, who is one of the original New Mutants. And I love her. And I mean, come on. She's Laotian. Wait. No, I'm sorry. She's Cambodian. She's gay. She's amazing. Her powers are really awesome. Later on in the comics, she gets a cyborg leg. How can you not love that? She's great. And she has awesome mind powers.
Sounds like a hat trick right there. All good.
Yes, I love her.
So we'll see what Fox comes out and just ride the movies in the meantime. I'm not sure we'll cover this when it comes out or not. I don't know. Haley has to get back with us on the schedule because we do whatever Haley writes down on the schedule.
Yeah, we're like, an anchorman when he reads whatever's on the teleprompter. We're like that, but with the schedule.
Yeah, definitely. That is it for the news this week. We're going to move on to the feedback.
All right, we've got some feedback on Twitter and a voicemail this week. First, we have from Born to Eat Bacon. Yes, boys and girls, the time for Bolton Bits gourmet hound food is right around the corner. Different show, different dog, same great taste. That made me laugh.
Different dog.
In response to the Maximus is now having all the bad ideas comment during the live tweet. We also have Andy Mingna saying that should the redhead in the second episode of The Gifted look familiar to you, she was Lorelei on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Are y'all watching The Gifted? Because I am, yes. And I'm really enjoying it.
It's good. If you are disappointed by the Inhumans, go watch The Gifted.
It's another story about superpowered people. It's a bit easier to follow, and I am really digging what they're doing with it. And from @EnlightBystand on Twitter, surely the collective noun for a bunch of Deadpools is a trade paperback.
Should have thought of that. That was a good one. Yeah.
And normally I try to stick to just picking the top 3, but this one, it was just too good not to use. Our very own Michelle Ely said, when you and your friends have the same idea at once. So, Born to Eat Bacon, me tweeting from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Michelle Ely all addressed the cousins issue. Born to Eat Bacon. Considering the rampant inbreeding, are they all her cousins? Me. Given that the population of Adelan is so small, pretty sure they're all cousins. And Michelle, on Adelan, everyone's your cousin.
All within the same minute.
This. Yeah, yes. We addressed this issue in the past.
That is exactly how it appeared on my Twitter feed. There was nobody in between it. This is not an edited photograph. I took the screenshot and I shared
amazing. It was amazing.
Wow.
Some fun with live tweets, by the way, on Friday night at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
the live tweets have been a lot of fun. We've gotten a lot of people joining in, and it's been great. So if you want to join in while you are making your way through Inhumans, feel free. It's been fun. We also have a voicemail from our very own Agent Black Adam.
We do. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Adam calling in with feedback for this week's episode of Inhumans, and, well, they're making progress, though I can't wait until presumably next week when everyone's back together, so they aren't trying to follow, 6 different plot lines at the same time. I do like the friendship that's developing between Medusa and Marvel Felicity, though obviously we'll have to see how that goes as things develop. The whole thing with the guy who rescued Black Bolt actually working for Maximus and not knowing the connection has the potential to be very interesting, though I'm sure he probably won't last all that long now that he's outlived his usefulness to Maximus, but we'll have to see how his Terrigenesis goes this time to find out. I wonder how much of Karnak's budding relationship is just that he can't see what's coming since his powers are acting up at the moment, and that gives him a completely different feel than all his other stuff, because, we saw in the pilot that his power of seeing what's happening and seeing weaknesses extends to relationships, too. As for the Gorgon stuff, still the fairly bland piece. But yeah, and Crystal just still kind of there. Best part of her plotline is that Lockjaw is also there. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. Talk to you later. Bye.
Best thing about Crystal is Lockjaw. Okay. Thank you very much, Black Adam, for giving us the down low here. That was a very interesting point. I want to bring that out again. With Karnak, maybe the reason why this is so special to him is he doesn't know how it's all going to turn out.
That's a good point.
Yeah. we saw before in the first episode that one woman hits on him and he just is like, oh, it's, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to turn out. And here, because he's not getting in his own way, he's out of his head a bit. He's more willing to let it happen.
And Adam also brought up the fact that Sammy, who's Lava Hands, by the way, Sammy is still working for Declan because he received that phone call from Declan inside the prison. So maybe we're going to see Sammy again.
I hope so. I liked him.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Adam. Once again, anybody, if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can either send me an MP3 file at Stargate Pioneer at gonnageek.com, or you can call us at 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871. A bunch of great feedback this week, and look forward to what everybody has to say in the future. In the meantime, we're all going to hop in the convertible and we're going to drive this one out. And in retrospect, after saying that and then playing that music, no, it's not a clown car convertible. It's just a normal convertible. I want to thank Michelle very much for joining us again this week. Thank you very much. Now, if people want to find you, where should they find you?
I'm on Twitter at Michelle Ely. So that's how you can find me.
And you're not only participating in the live tweets for the Inhumans on Friday nights, you're also live tweeting the DC comic TV shows during the week, right?
Yes, I run the Starlight Tribune Twitter feed. I live tweet Supergirl, Flash, Legends Tomorrow, and Arrow. So if you want to talk about, CW DC TV shows, join me and have some fun.
It's a lot of fun indeed. Thank you once again for showing up on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Anytime.
And thank you to everybody who's gotten a hold of us, whether it's on Twitter, through voicemail, anybody who leaves messages for us on our YouTube. We really love it. The live tweets have been just so fun and amazing. And we love knowing that you're thinking of us. We absolutely love you guys. Thank you.
Do indeed. Thank you very much for downloading the podcast and staying with us through the Inhumans. We're going to get to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. soon, not to mention Thor Ragnarok. So until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
See you guys Thursday. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com, where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2017.
Oh, haha.
Broadcast has been successfully terminated.